Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on September 2nd, 2023 at approximately 4:17 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I personally guide my life by every day that I'm working, every day that I'm breathing, which, by the way, happens on and does stop periodically. That said, before I go any further, I do want to say welcome very much. No, I already said that. Anyway, Chad, you are in with the gold. Football comes in with the silver. Now, of course, Chad, we go to here and we go. This is the link to Chad's live stream. So absolutely drop in, listen to what he has to say. If you like what he says, give him a thumbs up, and do subscribe to the channel, and then share the daylights out of the thing. Now, I figure, let's get started on getting your life started today. Okay, this is a point where we can sit back and wait for things to change, wait for the rest of the world to figure it out, or we can start making it happen ourselves. That call happens to be yours. That works much better. Yes, I've got my coffee here, got my water. Up front, I got coffee made and water in the fridge, so this is good. Now, first things first. Okay, as you can tell, I'll move that because it really doesn't belong there. But, see, I do try and keep things organized here. And considering that the office is also my bedroom, I sort of do my best to try and keep all that in order. Which doesn't always work, by the way. But, again, we left this thing open. Who the hell is that? That is not going to happen. See what I mean? There are 3 people that if they phone, I will answer. Technically, there's a 4th. Okay, there are certain things with business that I will have to answer. But other than that, it is simply my 2 boys and my other half. And who did I miss when I turned around? We have Carl Streiner here, and welcome aboard, Carl. You are in with the bronze, followed by Amy Tonga in with honorable mention. And what do we got going on? Okay, so how do we get started? Well, we get started with step 1. And rest assured, the reason I keep repeating this is because repetition in certain cases works like a charm. Okay, so I've got things I've got to get done here. I managed to get all the paper out of the way that was on my desk, on my bed. Well, yeah, on my desk. It's a very comfy desk. Okay, but that being said, you take a look at where your life is right now, and the first thing you identify is what you're not content with. Far easier to identify that than identifying what you do actually like. Okay, I was supposed to have something set up. I was planning on having something set up today, but it didn't quite work out that way. Oh well, can't do much about it. Whoop. See, this is why, this is the container that I use for sorting, for keeping my painting figures sorted around. Got a whole pile of those up front. But take a look at where your life is right this second. Okay, Now, I don't know if you guys are going to do this right now, but this is the way I work at. Where are we here? I have no idea, Carl. I hear that aloe vera is actually healthy for you. Oh, not a problem there, Joe. I know the I don't know when it comes on. My son actually told me about it. I'll be watching it after the stream. I'll be picking up about halfway through. It's literally been years since I've watched WWE. You know, but I will be watching that when I get done this stream. I'll go and pick it up right then. For the time being, I don't have it in here. And besides that, can you picture how distracting that could be? You know, I've got the stream with you guys, you know, with what you're seeing of this. I've got my actual video, and I've got another monitor up here. I could possibly technically stream it there, but that becomes a bit of a problem because I can see that being a little distracting. But take a look at what you've got. Now, right now, I'm looking at my desk. Okay. And the first thing I'm going to put down on my list here, this is file cards I got to go through and decide which ones I'm keeping. So, we put this here. And like I said, this is what I mean by it being real time. Okay, procrastination does not accomplish much. Okay, some of these I've just decided I'm dumping because I've got files that I'm looking at going, well, I need the information if they contact me. And I came to the conclusion, quite literally, I don't know, about 10 minutes ago, I'm no longer waiting to find the address I've got. If I'm not hearing from people, I'm just disposing of them. So you're going to hear a lot of that going on. And yeah, now bear in mind, where are we here? Oh, there you go. Yeah, well, that's just it. If you're living in Pennsylvania and you've got the option of watching it live, absolutely. It came to, WWE came to Kelowna a while back, and I literally was run into by Big Show because of where I was sitting and where he ended up. You know, that was a big man. So we got the file. Whoop, don't need that. Got a bunch of receipts here and what have you that I don't require. And again, this boils down to I'm getting my life in order now, and so are you. You know, what you do is take a look at what you've got going on, where it doesn't belong, and start putting it where it belongs, but don't delay on it. Now, of course, for me, this is just a normal way of doing things. That zip can go back where it belongs. As soon as I figure out where it belongs, right there. You've heard the old saying, everything has a place, so everything in its place. Okay. And this is kind of a necessary item. You know, kind of a necessary routine. But by doing this, you can eliminate a lot of the complications you're dealing with. First rule of thumb is decide, are you content with where your life is? With the layout of things going on around you. It's not about what other people think. You know, it's about what you're content with. So right now, what do I got here? That stuff sits there. This, like I said, where it comes to writing, I did it kind of in an odd way. Well, in an old way. I do my writing on loose leaf. Then I transfer it to soft copy, onto the computer. and then I'll expand from there. And this is where I'm standing right now. Now it's a question of putting it together and getting it done. But if you don't stay on top of it, it will amount to a whole pile in a hurry. So that's first and foremost. Now, let me ask you this, and just think about it for a minute. Obviously, I'm not necessarily asking for people to put into the chat room what they're doing. But do understand, if you've got a question that comes up and that is not even in the venue we're talking about, put the question in there. Okay, in my house, in this stream, it is putting all caps is not yelling. Putting things in all caps is simply getting my attention. Or at the very least, put a wavy hand there that says, hey, I'm here. Okay, and I do mean the wavy hand because the clapping, quite often I will miss it. Okay. But that said, did I lose something? No. Shouldn't be looking over there. Now, that being said, I've got everything set up here. And what do I got? I've got the file cards that have to be sorted, and half of them I can get rid of anyway. But to do that, we grab this file. This one's just odds and ends. This is not the Wombox. Like I said, okay, I'm very much a dinosaur. You guys use computers and you're quite happy with them. That's my Wombox. My word of mouth advertising and the list that has the newsletters and what have you. Unfortunately, those are the hard copies are not out the door yet. I got a little sidetracked with security problems at home. But that's something I will be doing today. This, on the other hand, is a whole pile of addresses that I need. Things like, for instance, contact numbers for the Better Business Bureau should realistically be in here. So it gets filed that way. And of course, City Hall is always a nice thing. But see, we used to have a phone book that gets handed out. Now we don't have the phone book. Or at least I haven't seen one in a couple of years. So now I look at it going, okay, somewhere around here, I've got the information. And it turns out I've got a bunch of cards here. And bylaw enforcement in case I actually require it. Which, in all fairness, I haven't needed to deal with bylaw for quite literally a couple of decades now. I remember them showing up on my doorstep, but this is just this is just one of those ways of making sure that you stay and keep things in order. Okay, that you stay on top of things. Now, let me ask you this. Are you content with where your life is right here, right now? Because this is the only time in your life you can change anything. My coffee's up there. The funny part about it is the more organized you are, the easier things will run. And what do I got here? Just checking. Nathan, I did not see you sneak in here. Oh, today's Friday, isn't it? Or Saturday, rather. That's right, too. Okay, so, guys. Oh, that's okay. That comes on after. So, my night is going to be really hectic. So. I didn't hit enter, doorknob. Okay. Sorry, Chad, there was the link to yours. And here's the link to Nathan's show. Now, Nathan is on tonight himself from 9 p.m. until I don't know when, Pacific time. Okay. But now that I've reminded myself that it is actually Saturday, I'll finish this stream, go and finish watching WWE, and then I'm going to come back and do my best. Whatever that is. And do my best to make myself available for Nathan's stream. Because there's a lot going on there that is going to be rather intriguing to get a look at. What is that? Okay, that's stuff that has to go there. These are just numbers that, these are card, like all of these are just simply phone numbers and what have you. But like I said, the phone book that we used to use is now gone the way of the dodo bird. Where are we here? Publishing. There we are. And we go to medical to put that away. This is going rather nicely, really. Let's go back to publishing. Way at the back. Now, I've got a whole pile of things I'm looking at, not the least of which is making absolutely certain that we get on top of things so I can actually start pushing the idea of getting other people's work published as well. Okay, that being said, that's cute. That being said, what we have to look at is what are you yourself doing to straighten your life out to get back on the right track for you? Because let me ask you this. Are you content with where things are? Oh, we scrolled down. Or didn't scroll down. What do we got here? Yeah, on football. That, I'm sure you're aware, that is actually normal. Because you got to remember, in nature, the strong always prey on the weak. It's a way of keeping the bloodline strong. Probably a year ago, I was talking to you guys about rescuing a dozen quail chicks. Well, one of those chicks was being attacked by two sparrows. Okay. And I chased them off, returned the chick to its parents, and surprise of surprises, the parents actually took him back. And about a month later, I saw the whole 14 of them running around. So at least it worked out well. As in, managed to get him back on track, back to his family. He grew up, well, I know I watched a dozen of them running around for close to a year. But then they all set up underneath my shrub. Yeah, thank you for that there, Joe. Oh, what happened? The parents themselves, when I went out to deal with them, there's a break in the hedge. There's two breaks in the hedges. So they have one parent on one end break, the other parent on the other break, but they were on top of the curb. And these poor little guys are only this tall. They're only an inch tall. And they could not jump up to get up to the parents. So when I saw this, I turned around, went back in the house, grabbed an empty cereal box, come back outside, and very carefully scoop the chicks up with the side of the cereal box. Because the idea here was, I'm not touching these birds if I can avoid it. Right. So I got the 11 of them up there. One of them his foot got a little caught at one point, but we didn't hurt it. Just pulled the board back so he could get up. Got the 11 up, but the 12th one had run off into the middle of the parking lot. And that's where the two sparrows had cornered him. So I went over. Well, two sparrows took off right away. And in the wounded one's case, I had to physically pick him up. Right. So what I did was I modified the energy field around my hand in order to cut down on the impression. Picked the little munchkin up. Right, brought him back and set him on the grass right near the parents. Well, the parents ran over to him, checked him out, and then the whole bunch of them took off together. Shadow, how you doing? Glad you can make it. Now, where is Shadow here? This here is the link to Shadow's live stream. There we go. So absolutely take a look at it. Listen to what he has to say. And if you like it, give him a thumbs up. And do subscribe to the channel and then share the daylights out of it. Yeah, it was amazing. The reality last night with it hitting almost 40, hitting 40 likes. To me, that was just amazing. Am I going to move the time to that point? The answer is no. Okay, primarily because I just decided that I am not going to, as a rule, go into direct competition for Dave's viewers. Yes, I mean direct competition for others, but it's something Dave never asked for it. And, I wouldn't have done it at all last night, except for the fact that I know that people are there regularly. What am I looking at here? Yeah, we end up getting the subscriptions do fluctuate a fair amount, but we're only talking about fluctuating. They climb to drop one sort of thing. So we are climbing. Right now, I am at 541. Now, and I forget who asked. Ferret, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Wonder if I can figure that one out. Nice. The football is going. Our crows chase off the hawks, and I reward them with cookies. I mean, crows are wonderful. They're a wonderful bird. Very intelligent little munchkins. The nice part about it, I came on last night because of the fact Dave was not available. Spaced Out was. But on the other hand, a lot of people, fortunately in my eyes, we get a good turnout in the ET connection. And I figured it was only reasonable for you guys for me to come back online. Lord knows why, but, I don't listen to me half the time. Well, I know why I don't, but I would have. I actually ended up going to bed at 11 o'clock. I forget where you are there, football. For me, I went to bed at 11 o'clock PST. But am I going to be moving to a later time? No. Am I going to be, and I keep getting sidetracked. I was supposed to do it again today, but I've got the program. It's time to start doing the extra programs. The extra videos. Yeah, that's right too. Of course it's right. You said it. My suspicion is you know what time you are. So, I mean, from my end, it's a real simple issue. I come on at the same time. So, yeah. Football goes, I'm part of the replay crew. From my standpoint, when I look at the subscribers we've got and the people that show up, I know it's regularly happening now. When I look at my stats in the analytics, I'm on for 2 hours, and it's quite often now that within the first day, I've got 24 hours worth of viewing. So I know people are watching it. Okay, and again, if you have a question or if you've got topics, a topic that you'd like to look into, absolutely let me know. Drop me a line at any one of the contact points listed below here, and I will do my level best to make certain that it gets accommodated. Now, what have I got here? Where are we here? Today is Saturday. Oh, right. So, going around in circles long enough, that's for certain. So we do this. Today we are going with Start Your Life. Tomorrow is open. And where, pray tell, did my August file go? Calendar. Okay. So why don't we get this sorted out right now? Like I said, let's get your life started now. And this is how you go about it. This is my calendar from August. Okay. And my calendar, let's see. So we have alien. We deal with the aliens on Tuesday. So we mark that in here. Alien topics go on Tuesday. And we deal with the paranormal on Friday. Which could be just about anything. Other than that, let's get your life moving in the right direction. Starting right here, right now. Okay, because there is no point in continuing to put it off. File that where it belongs. Yes, I've got an old legal-sized 4-drawer filing cabinet. Oh, by the way, I mentioned I had a meeting to do with Community Futures to get their help to get things moving in the right direction. Got that done. Guy looks at me. Oh, thank you, football. Come to think of it, why don't I do that while I'm talking to you guys? But now that's got to be done today. That'll get done today before I go off. That's the stuff for Work BC. But the paperwork I had to get into Community Futures, I went in there with it, told them I hadn't filled out the paperwork because I didn't understand exactly what they were looking for. But I had all the information they wanted. So I turned that all into him and he was fine with it. But like I said, I'm building this my way. And quite frankly, I know this sounds egocentric. As much as possible, I'll get them to adjust to what I can work with. It's so much less stressful for me. Now, this is my one box. So we go through this way. Let's call up August. Yeah, we're just into September. So let's go up here, open the file for that September. I require, okay, where did we go? Open that, go to browse, and then we go to that file, and we bring August. Okay, now that I've got it up and running, I can do exactly what I require. So we take this. Now, again, this is just a one step at a time thing. And by the way, here's the neat part. This little book here. Okay. This little book here, as you can see, it's already in print, holds the backbone to how I literally changed the way my life was going. Okay. Just making sure I didn't screw something up here. By looking at this is each person that I've sent a newsletter to or a book. Hopefully I didn't miss any, but I should have a file here for each one of you. That way I can keep tabs on who's actually had what sent to them, especially where it comes to the newsletters. We are already, because I'll know that momentarily. But the more organized you are, the easier it's going to be to actually be successful in your eyes. Never mind what anybody else has to say. Because you got to remember, it's not what other people think. It's really not what they think that holds the biggest impact. It's what you think about yourself. And Nathan. Hey Sam, how we doing? I missed you. Missed seeing you come in. This is what I get for looking at my hands for a minute. But welcome aboard. And I see, Nathan, you are back again. Doing show. Yeah. Come to think of it, you've got a show coming up real quick. I know you do your first show, the first hour. You come on at 7 o'clock, do you not? Okay. Yeah. Where are we? Yeah, you come on at 7 Central for your first part, do you not there, Nathan? I'm going to make certain. Okay. Football, the answer to your question is absolutely yes. Animals do have a life contract just like humans do. But understand, the contract is not them, and it's not this way for humans either. A life contract is a contract you make with yourself. Okay. That you're going to come in and gain wisdom around a certain number of things. Okay. That's what the contract is. Plants, animals, people, elementals, non-corporeals, off-worlders, ancient races, you get the picture. They all make contracts. Karmic law applies to the whole 9 yards of them. And yes, it even applies to me. I was debating that for a while. But no, I still have to look at it. It's just my the way that karma tracks, because my life is registered in a slightly different fashion. Okay, yours is measured this lifetime. This is a vehicle to me. This isn't my life. Okay, what do we got here? Oh. Well, that's terrible. I can't do much about that. Yeah, and here's the thing. So I suppose we should bring that back down to just the basic line. Okay, so let me finish 2 more sheets here. And we're going to get all started because whoever picks this door opens this video, we've got to get them moving in the right direction. I guess technically it's not my responsibility, but since I said I was going to do it, karmic law is pretty cut and dried. If you say you're going to do something, absolutely make certain you do it. Okay, so first thing you do, grab that sheet of paper. Your life is going, let's say your life is falling apart of it. Maybe it's only one little aspect. Okay, so grab a sheet of paper. Okay, you grab a sheet of paper and you literally write down the first thing you can see right around where you are. Okay, that is not where it belongs. Okay, we're going to start by clearing the clutter out of the way. Okay, clutter being whatever you've got that has a place that it's not actually in. In my case, I just went through the first half of the files. Now I'm just double checking to make sure that anything that requires a hard copy is getting one. So we just do this. We go up to that file. We go File, print. And we go print. And I'm just going to do these one at a time, and as they pop off, I'll staple them, set them aside. I'll deal with filing them afterwards. But get that first thing that you haven't done, write it down. If it's a task that is bigger than 15 minutes to half an hour, break it down into 15 minute to half hour component parts. Now, football is asking, does the ancient races have souls? Every one of them has a soul. Some of you may well have been an ancient race. Okay, you may have had a lifetime as an ancient race. Now, there are some ancient races that are a lot longer living than humans, not the least of which is the elephant. Okay, but yes, every one of anything that is living, whether it is human or ancient race or alien, okay, they all have a soul. And this is why every one of the species believes in a higher power of one form or another. Now, some are certainly a little more egocentric, in as much as they turn around and go, nope, I'm the top of the totem pole. There are many humans that believe that humans are the top of the totem pole. And I'm telling you, that's a little overstated. Okay, it's very definitely a little overstated. Because what you've got there, if mankind were the top of the totem pole, we would be able to manifest like that. But the fact of the matter is, people cannot do that. Not at this point. He already got his, I think. But let's do that anyway. Hey, up there. The fact of the matter is, they do absolutely have souls. And so a lot of them, oddly enough, like many of them have their own rituals. Many of the ancient races have their own rituals that are set up to help them cope with the passing of loved ones. Okay. And the reality behind that is because, just like humans, many of the ancient races have been taught to fear death. In all fairness, death is a really nice lady. By the way, I should clear something up. Death herself is not one individual. Okay. One person just cannot handle that many souls. Okay. So death is more of a position. When you talk about death coming to your doorstep, that is one of their, if you will, caseworkers coming to collect people. Because they just don't have the ability to move on, to get to all of them. Like, one person just cannot do that. Let's face it. Santa Claus does a bang-up job about getting to all the humans. Okay, all the ones to celebrate Christmas, that is. And we'll get to that on another day. Okay, but yes, every race every corporeal individual has a soul. Okay, but before somebody jumps on the wrong thing there, we are not talking about them having a soul and ending up in hell. Okay, people don't, hell is, quite frankly, optional. And I know that sounds completely weird. Okay, but hell itself, when you pass away, you will go to essentially a major gala before you move on. Okay, and that is where you meet your loved ones. That's where you're told, go into the light, don't go into the light. I'll tell you, walking into the light can be really, really annoying on occasion. Way too bright. Maybe that's why I keep coming back. No, I'm firmly convinced that's a slightly different reason. But what we're looking at here is you can fear death if you'd like. Okay, you really can. I'd recommend you don't. I'm betting I'm going to run out of paper at some point. But the reality of it is this. You start with the first project. Now, I've already done one project I had to get out of the way. And now I'm working on a second one. Okay, I just figured today was a bit of an odd day anyway, so let's make it really weird. Can't picture me trying to do that. And then we have another one. Since I gotta go out again tomorrow morning. Anyway, I can't do that. These will end up going out on Tuesday. Primarily because the post office isn't open until then. But I'll get them all filed and set up to go. Which will make it so much easier for me. But once you've got one task set up, okay, now find the second one. Okay, right now, where did I put my pen? There's my pen. And we just go print hard copies. So I've already done that one. Once you've got the first one set out the next, another job that is not complete right now, because we're going to put you back in track. Or more to the point, I'm going to turn on the lights so that you can get back on track in your own life, so your life quits collapsing. Now, you're going to have to do the work. It's just that simple. And yeah, like I know for an absolute certainty, Nathan, I'm just looking here and I don't know how far back that was. Yeah, there we are. Nathan is going, I try to help. The reality of it is this. What I found is a good 95% of people are interested in helping others, are interested in making sure that other people's lives run reasonably smoothly. Okay, that's just the reality behind it. There's a lot of emphasis on the negative side of things. And this is where I have the problem and why I decided I'm not going down that road. I'm just not going to emphasize the negative side. Because there's a lot of negative things that can happen. Football. Absolutely, animals can go to hell. They can go to heaven. They can go crawl into a box and sleep there for a while. They have the same rights, the same options that humans have and that other races do. This is why some people, when they die, their pets will show up on the doors and will show up at the light to welcome them home. But yes, there are animals that absolutely, and we're talking both domestic and wild, okay, that absolutely can go to hell. If they believe in their heart that they deserve to burn in hell, or in their version of it, okay, bear in mind, a rabbit may see hell as being torn apart time and again by a dog. Okay, but yes, animals absolutely can go to hell. That sounds really bad, but it's not actually as bad as what you might think. But they absolutely can go there. And I can tell you this because you're going to forget it when you die anyway. Okay, but when you die, okay, you don't have to stay in hell. Okay, like you're told you'll burn for all eternity. Isn't that a nice eternity? Everybody that goes to hell burns for you. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not, but you get to take that one how you will. Okay, because the reality is, people believe you go to hell, you're going to burn for all eternity, or you're going to be in heaven for the rest of your existence. This is not the case, but you'll figure that out. There'll come a point where you go, no, I've thought about what I did long enough, and I really don't have to be here, so I'm going to go. Okay, now hell is kind of comical, because you get told you go to hell, you're going to go to the river Styx, you're going to burn for all eternity. The demons are going to tear your body apart, and you're just going to suffer excruciating pain forever. But when you get down there, okay, it'll sooner or later dawn on you that you can turn around and you'll go, somebody will push you back in the river, right? And you'll get fed up with it. And I see this happen all the time with people. Okay, they're getting pushed back in. All of a sudden, somebody will go, knock it off. I'm trying to get out. And whoever's been pushing me steps back and goes, okay, you're free to go. No problem. Sorry. Right. But then almost invariable, that same human will look at them and go, well, I thought you were supposed to keep pushing me in regardless. So, of course, the demon will grab them and throw them back in the water. Throw them back in the fire. Right? And we go back through the routine until we get back to that issue of, knock it off. I'm trying to get out. Football. No, although I can see why they would think it was. The Roswell spaceship, from what I understand, was shot down, but it was not shot down by human technology. Okay, technically you could call it lightning because it was a lateral strike. Okay. So from that end, yeah, it would have looked like lightning from most people. But there were actually, the funny part about that whole issue was there were 4 bodies on that ship. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There were actually 5 bodies on that ship. Okay, one of which was a baby that was turned over. I believe it was the Lakota Indians that it was turned over to protect it. Okay, 2 of them died on impact. 1 died shortly after impact due to extraneous wounds. Okay, that was the mother of the child. Okay, the child. Okay, and by the way, they weren't all Zeta Reticulum. The 4th one lived, as far as I understand, about 15 years in custody, in quarantine with, I believe it was it had to be in quarantine with the U.S. government. Now, from what I gather, they did a lot of testing, but there wasn't any, let's get away from the idea that the U.S. government tortured the aliens. This was not the case. There was a lot of time spent trial and error, trying to figure out what they could eat, etc., and how to communicate all of this. But the individual was not actually hurt. Okay. Football, much as I will talk to you personally about 911, about 9/11, there is no way I'm bridging that question on here. If you want my take on it, one of 2 things happens. Either I end up on somebody else's show talking about it, or you drop me a line. Yes, I've got my own views on it, but I've seen way too many people getting into trouble with it. But I do appreciate the question. But it's kind of, talking about 911 and what went down there is like talking about COVID. It's just a bad idea. Or here's a really bad idea. Make a joke. Do not make a joke about explosives when you're at the airport. They do not have a sense of humor there. Not where it comes to explosives, anyway. Where am I here? Print. You know, but when the Roswell ship came down, it was not shot down by humans. It was shot down by another race. Okay. In all fairness, due to who they were, could have been just about anybody. I'm not entirely certain which race they were at war with at the time, but I can tell you I suspect very strongly that it was the Teklak. And the reason I suspect that is because the mother that they had on board, the female they had on board that had the child, was a Strazazian. Okay. And the Teklak and the Strazazians are at war. They do not get along well. That's how that comes about. But is the whole event of 911 is it an important topic? Certainly. It's kind of like trying to talk about some of the other controversial topics. But one thing I can tell you wholeheartedly, the one thing I will say about 911 is it was not brought down. Okay, maybe I should put it this way. 9/11 was not an alien assault. Okay, take everything else out of the equation, and it wasn't an alien assault. If that makes any sense. No, absolutely not their football. Football is just asking the reptilians oversee the Greys. No, the Zeta Reticulans, the Greys, are overseen by the Zeta Reticulan D, which are the controllers. Now, if you watch the original Close Encounters of the Third Kind, that picture they show at the end of the movie, that scene where they've got that one really tall gray in the back, and then all the little guys are Zeta Reticulans. Now, I will tell you, there may have been, and I'd have to go back and watch it again, you may have seen a Beta Reticulan, which, by the way, Beta Reticulans are not, they are not a photocopy or anything. Beta Reticulans are simply the agricultural geniuses. They're just simply the agricultural geniuses that take care of a lot of that side of things for them. Oddly enough, football, the answer is absolutely yes. Okay, there's a neat little religion down in the South Pacific called Vodon. Okay, and don't take my word for this one. Matter of fact, don't take my word for any of this. But there's a religion down in a human religion down in the South Pacific that is called Vodon. And Vodon, most people call it voodoo. Okay, they have a process of waking the dead. They do have drugs that do make people wander around. Do I not have any paper left? That will be annoying. They don't take over people. And by the way, if you're asking, are the zombies that go along and bite people and infect them, are they real? The answer is no. Okay, except for, okay, don't get me wrong. If they bite, sure, they will infect somebody. Okay, but the reality is they won't infect them to the point. They won't infect them to the point of turning them into zombies. They affect them more accurately, and like a monitor does. Okay, with disease and what have you that they carry in their bite. Let's face it, zombies are and in what they're doing is zombies are simply they're decaying. So if they bite you, yeah, you're going to get infected, but you're not going to become a zombie. Okay, but zombies have been real for a very long time. And yes, there are illnesses that can wipe out the higher cognitive senses of people, but not to the degree that not to the degree that the movies have made it. Hollywood's made a brilliant run on it, absolutely, but they are not that deadly, as it were. Do I not have? Apparently not. Well, that is kind of annoying. I'm just looking over here to see if I've actually got any paper left, which it would appear not. No. If I do, well, I'm not going to do any more of that because I'm not looking for it anymore. But no, zombies are not like they're portrayed. It's kind of like aliens cannot be driven back by humans, primarily because humans do not have the technological capacity for it. Okay, so do your best to relax on that little note. Okay, now, again, and I know this has gone a completely bizarre direction, but I've always held I will answer the questions that come up. Other than that, I put a topic together, so I've got a way to stay focused. Now, I've got 2 tasks on the go here. It does annoy me that I'm missing paperwork. Unless I put it in the back of the top drawer. Nope. Not in that one. Not in that one. Not in the back of that. And not in the back of that one. Okay, so clearly that's not going to be found right now. But once you've got 3 things on your list, okay, and by the way, this whole idea of the list, if you're taking a look at this book, what do we got here? Just scanning through the pages because it's a very short book anyway. Sure can't get the page separated because my hands aren't working. Oh, that's because I think it's actually the fourth one. Yeah, chapter 4 here. Okay, it's actually, this particular method is actually covered in this book. But once you've got 3 things on your list, okay, here's the thing, football. Will I write one? I honestly don't have enough information about it. Some of the race I've got, some people may call cryptids. Do I have the information? The answer is no. Okay, would I write it if I had the information? The answer is absolutely I would. This said, am I willing, and will I, as I open the publishing company up, will I absolutely take reports from other people that say, this is what I know about this cryptid, and combine it all into one book? That I am 100% in favor of doing. Okay, I just don't have the knowledge base to be able to effectively write it. But will I absolutely take information from people, and put a chapter on Ogopogo, on on Dogman, on any of these? Okay, absolutely I will. Okay, I just don't have the database to deal with it. Okay, football's going. Can you start over your life at any age? The unequivocal answer is yes, with one proviso. You cannot erase what you've already been through. Okay, think of it this way. If we take a look at your arm, here's where your birth is. This is your past, all the way to here to the wrist. Then you're into the present, which is right smack in the palm of your hand. You'll notice you've got a bunch of fingers. Okay, when you get to here, this is your life right now. Now, you pick a direction. The moment you pick this finger, you can no longer get to these options. So ultimately, you're starting your life right when you make that decision. Transpose that or transfer that, and this finger now takes place way back to the elbow, and you're going forward. Okay, so you can take your life right where you are and go, I'm not content. I'm changing my life, and start altering the things about it that you're not content with. For example, if you're not content with the fact you're a professional procrastinator, well, there's only one thing you can do about that. You cannot alter the fact that you were one. But by using this list method, you can absolutely eliminate the problem of continuing being one. Okay, there you go. People tell you as you get older, your eyesight fails, your healing, your how you doing, Angels? Glad you could join us. Maybe you're not, you've been told as you get older, your metabolism slows down, you put on weight, you develop arthritis, your eyesight fails, you lose your hair. Well, let me ask you, does this look like I'm losing my hair? Okay, my eyesight, when I was holding my glasses here, I couldn't see my glasses at this distance. I can now read 20/20. Okay, you've been led down the garden path on what you can and cannot do. Okay, I had a client come to me. She was 52 years old when I met her. And she had, well, I technically could do that, but I don't think you'll get it to grow. She had always desired to be a doctor. And she came to me at 52 and she was really unhappy about the fact she hadn't become a doctor. I said, okay, look, you cannot become a doctor by the time you're 20. Can you still become a doctor? Certainly. Well, I worked with her for the next 7 years. And when she went back to university at 53 years old. At 60 years old, she became a medical doctor. And like I said, the only caution is this. You're not going to have that many years as a doctor before you reach recommended retirement age. I don't know who recommended the idea of retiring. I'm in better health at 60 than I ever was at 30. Okay, but, you look at it. My metabolism is increasing again, which is a really scary thought. Okay, my immune system, well, if we ignore the heart attack, the stroke, and then kind of 3 tooth infections, and once in a while a mild headache, 1 migraine, I haven't had a flu, a cold, I haven't had anything that qualifies as a standard illness in 25 years. Okay, I don't see the point in getting ill. I understand that a lot of people, and I don't suffer from arthritis or from allergies. Now I understand why people get up and get frustrated with you, with that side of it. I just don't see the point in participating in it. It does seem to be kind of an annoyance. Now, Angel of Life is here, and therefore, as per usual, we grab this, we pop in her stream, and do ask you to take a look at her stream when you get a chance. If you like what she says, do subscribe to her channel, and then share the daylights out of it. And don't forget to give her a thumbs up. Football, the answer is absolutely yes. Okay, and do understand, number one, do deal with modern medicine if that's your bend. Okay. If that's your bend, that you have to that you're going to go through modern medicine, do so. They know more about allergies than the individual does. The real key to curing your own allergies, and for pity's sakes, if it's severe, go to the doctor first. Okay, do not make the mistake of going, oh, I don't trust the doctors, therefore I'm not going. I do it that way because, well, frankly, they're useless to me. Aside from when I snapped my arm, that kind of worked out well. And I will tell you, the rehab crew where I had my stroke were brilliant. Funny, but brilliant. But, I've shown you guys this stunt and this trick before. Take your hands, okay, put the palms towards each other, but not necessarily touching. Okay. Now, yeah, this kind of looks like you're praying, but call it what you will. You'll feel an energy build between them. Concentrate on that energy and hold one word in your mind, in your heart and mind. Heal. Okay. By doing that, and then you focus on, and you might as well start with the toes and go through methodically, one step at a time, and you literally concentrate on the allergy collapsing. Okay, have I seen it happen? Absolutely. Is it something that everybody's going to pull off? No, because first and foremost, you have to believe it's possible. And somehow most people are still believing. I will have to call him afterwards. I will call him right after the show. I sent a bunch of boys. This is a gentleman. I sent a bunch. He offered to. This gentleman that just phoned offered to take some of my books and put them in the bookstores out in Saskatchewan. I'm betting that is the call that said they arrived. But when you're looking at healing your own allergies, go through one step at a time. Okay. And you literally focus on that allergy correcting itself. Your body knows how to correct it. Okay. Yes, you may require, and I forget what they're called, analgesics and that sort of thing to give you a boost. Absolutely you may, and do not fear them. Okay. If you don't like them, don't take them. But on the other hand, if you're suffering, sometimes taking something that you don't like the advertisement says, Buckley's. It tastes terrible, but it works. I think it's Buckley's, but you get the idea. So yes, anything your body is going through, anything at all, your body can correct. And yes, I am telling you that because I have seen people beat lupus, beat lung cancer, beat kidney cancer, and all kinds of cancers. Okay, I've seen people rein in multiple personality disorder. These are things that you're not supposed to be able to cure. And of course, I'm living proof. You can follow that neat little comment that Captain America made. If you get killed, walk it off. Well, I did. Okay. And no, you don't have to believe me, and good luck finding the records on that, considering they were on a military base. But if your body has created it, if an illness takes place, do understand they call it a dis-ease for a reason. Okay. They absolutely call it a dis-ease, meaning something is not in balance with you. And it's said the sooner you get your body in balance, the better off you are. It's funny. I was talking to a chap, not a medical chap, but he's got almost a quarter century on me. I'm 60, he's 84, so And he was telling me one of the best things that he found to help the digestive tract not get jammed is a quarter can of whole berry cranberry sauce. Okay, just one a day. And I'm telling you, I started using it. Cranberry sauce, we say, is for Christmas or for Easter or what have you, whenever you got turkey. Okay, I turned around and I picked some up. And not 2 cans later, and I don't mean the bird, my body is actually working a lot more smoothly at this point. And no, I'm not going into details, but you get to try that one for yourself. And I'm talking, as a matter of fact, give me 10 seconds, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. And I've talked to you guys before about the additives that they put in canned food, that I've been told they put in canned food. But this is what the guy told me to go and get. Okay. And I've taken to eating a quarter can of this a day. It's just simply another type of fruit. Exactly, football. Okay, and that's what he was telling me. So, like he said, don't take my word for it. Give it a shot. I did make sure I asked how much I should be eating, how much he recommended. He says, start with a quarter can. If that's not working after 3 or 4 days, increase to a third of a can. Okay, but, there's a canned food for you. That's cute. They put the label on upside down. If you take a look at it, they've got the label. That's the label, right? But look at that's the top that should be the one to open. That's what they've got set up as the bottom. This one was a goof up. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I find the unsweetened cranberry. Okay, I thought you said sweetened. I accidentally ended up with the first cranberry I got. I grabbed diet cranberry by accident, and then the next time my son went and grabbed me cranberry cocktail. This is so much more convenient for me. But yeah, it's a food commercial now. We've got cranberry sauce, great for your health. Just a quarter can a day. Somebody else gets to turn around and turn that into a commercial. And sorry, I don't do the commercial thing well. Semper Fi there, Black Dragon. Glad you could join us. Yeah, no doubt. And again, price is something you concern yourself with. I probably should more so. Yeah. I probably should concern myself more about finances than I do. But what the heck? The one thing I will tell you with the canned stuff, I can stack it on the shelf and not worry about it. Yeah, well, that'd be an idea. At this point, in all fairness, I certainly don't see myself as a celebrity. People have told me, oh, you're an expert. I am not an expert. Well, maybe I am. My brother defined an expert thusly. He goes, an expert is an unknown drip under pressure. Okay. And that is possible. Black Dragon, how you doing? Oh, no, I already said Black Dragon, how you doing? Gives you an idea how well that works on occasion, doesn't it? And where are we? But yeah, it looks like my schedule is getting busier and busier by the moment because I am putting stuff in motion. Like, I turned the paperwork in for Community Futures. They won't be getting back to me, and they won't even get it um into their system until, oh, okay. They won't even get it through their initiation system to figure out if they're taking me on until the 12th. You know, but I may well be running out of EI shortly thereafter because, let's see here, that'll be the 9th. I might have one more pay period. So they're really cutting it tight if they're going, because their starting day is the 25th. I may have one more EI check coming in. Right. And other than that, I'm pretty tight to the wire. You know, by the way, guys, just in case you haven't, if you're listening and you haven't and you do enjoy the stream, do me a favor and give us a big thumbs up, and then subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. That would be really appreciated. You know, now when I get done this, whoa, where are we here? The answer there, football, I really hadn't thought about when, well, I was going to ask when Halloween was. I gotta see what the actual, there's one issue that will put a real kink in. Halloween is, when is Halloween? There we are. Okay, Halloween is on Tuesday, so I will certainly be on Halloween. And I have no idea. I haven't dressed up for Halloween in, I don't know, 30 years. I think the early 80s was when I stopped dressing up for Halloween. And don't get me wrong, I don't actually have anything against it. I just don't leave the house. So, with that in mind, why bother? But it's something I hadn't even considered. So the first obvious question is, what is other people's take on dressing up for and what are your guys' take on dressing up for a different show, like for instance on Halloween. Of course, we have the other issue of dressing up for things like St. Patrick's Day and any of these days. One thing is for absolute certainty, there is no way that I would ever even consider putting a crown of thorns on my head for even a moment. They are painful. Okay. And no amount of costume work in the world is going to make that different. But it is an interesting idea. I used to listen to Kenny Rogers all the time. Do not ask me to sing. You're not going to be happy with the outcome. But I will absolutely deliberate on that little option because it doesn't fall on Thursday. If Halloween fell on a Thursday, frankly, I'll be gaming. That's because that's the way my life goes. And this is really far ahead. This is really far ahead. But New Year's Eve, I certainly won't be doing live. Oh, wait a minute, that's not entirely true. New Year's Eve, no, given when we start, I won't be on New Year's Eve, which is a Wednesday. I'll be opting out of that because for the last 20 years, we have run a game from about noon until about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. My buddy and I, and I'm not changing that. I didn't miss it for a stroke. I'm not missing it for a radio show. Don't take that the wrong way. Very, very few. Once in I keep a box of candy handy, that sounded really cute. Just in case the munchkins that are in this apartment building knock on the door. But my ex, on the other hand, she gets the whole place decorated, and she herself gets dressed up for Halloween. And my youngest son usually gets dressed up and goes over there and hands out the candy with her. He doesn't go around trick-or-treating anymore, but he still participates. I remember when I was a kid, we used to have things like bobbing for apples. Well, there's an interesting idea. Emmy's just saying a purple hat and cloak would be striking against the gray. I will tell you this. I will consider it. In all fairness, I don't have either a purple top hat or a cloak. Okay. Closest thing I've got right now is I've got the cowboy hat I was wearing the other day, and I've got a duster. Why doesn't that surprise me there, Black Dragon? You can realize you guys are pushing me, are putting me into a whole different area. But I did say this place is real. I am absolutely tickled pink with the amount of support that I get from you guys. It's absolutely priceless. Oh, those have to be set up. Oh, and by the way, I did start taking I've started turning around and taking some of the stuff that's not damaged, some of the odds and ends that I've got that are still viable and still in good shape, to start turning them over when Christmas and birthdays come around. Okay. And again, I will be doing things with birthdays as time goes on. But for obvious reasons, if I've got your email address or your mail address, if I don't have your birthday, I won't be including it in anything I'm working with. And I don't know what's going to happen with those down the road. That's just one of these things I've looked at. Oh, thank you so much for clarifying that, Emmy. And football thing again, thank you for the whole idea of the for the whole idea. Oh, I see how we did it. Yeah, as far as the purple goes. I'm still fighting with mild color blindness. And apparently eyesight not working. So I've only been able to see color at all for the last 16 years now. The reality of it is I'm still working on some of the physical stuff. Things like social etiquette and political correctness. I gave up on political correctness, I think. It's like I told my brother one day. I said, look, I'm not always right. I was wrong once. I thought I was wrong and I wasn't. He just looked at me a little funny. Elaine, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Hopefully your day has been going well. Still bothers me that I can't find the two reams of printer paper that I know I own. I just don't know where they got moved to. Which is, to say the least, annoying. But I'll have to find them afterwards, I guess. But it does mean some of the other ones can be packed up tonight. Well, let's get that out of the way here, shall we? You know, overall, we're looking at if you desire your life to change, it's time to absolutely get your feet on the floor and start making it happen. Now, like I've told people, the trick to really getting your life in order is first and foremost, okay, doesn't matter what's going on around you, as much as you can, put a smile on your face. And yeah, in answer to your question, and to some people's comment to me, well, you don't smile. I also don't cry. And I don't hold, I'm not prejudiced towards people. There's a lot of things I don't do. That being said, okay, I can take that other neat little line and go, I smile on the inside. I enjoy, no, this is not a knife, it's a letter opener. Knife is, what the heck is the knife? Now I'm confused. My knife has gone missing. But that's okay, I'll find it eventually. It's kind of funny the number of things. Oh, there it is, up there. What I keep looking at is this. You're the one in control of your life. So many people go, my life's falling apart. I don't know where to begin. Well, where you begin is right where you begin to reclaim power over it. Is literally where you're sitting, where you're standing right now. Now, as some of you I know are listening while you're driving, absolutely, number one priority, pay attention to the roads around you, and especially the one right in front of you. Okay, not many people actually multitask well enough to handle that kind of thing. But if you're driving, that has to be your number one priority for obvious reasons. Okay, definitely be careful out there, Elaine. I'm going to give you a piece of information, and you probably already know this. When I was first getting my license, my older brother, he says, look, I'm going to give you a couple of pieces of information that will save your life. I said, okay. I said, fire. He goes, number one, remember that every single driver out there, every driver, every pedestrian in every vehicle, they're all idiots. And he says, you remember that every single one of those idiots is going to try and kill you. He says, you keep those two things in mind on top of the rules of the road, and you'll be fine. Well, I haven't been in a vehicular accident in 25 years, aside from one where I slid without damage to anything sideways into a snowbank off black ice. Okay, no, I've been in the last 25. I haven't been ill in 25 years. It's got to be over 20 now. Well, where are we here? 2003 and 2023. So, yeah, it's been 20 years anyway since I've been in a serious accident. I rode a car, I hit black ice and wrote my car off. I didn't even hit the meridian hard enough to upset the load. Right. I've had one car totaled while I wasn't in it. One car was written off when I got rear-ended. I was driving a GLC. I was driving a four-door hatchback GLC and got rear-ended at full speed at full speed by a Caprice. Oh, you would have, yeah, you would not have liked what I pulled. I was going down the road one day, and I'm heading down a 2-lane highway, and I hit black ice. I'm driving, at the time, I was driving a full-size station wagon. Okay. Nice, Black Dragon. And you're still walking. This is great. I'm going down the road in a full-size station wagon, and I hit black ice, and my vehicle starts doing this cartwheel, this, full spin. and I'm heading down the road. Well, I'm just looking and going, well, I'm pretty much hooped. Guy coming up behind me saw me go into the spin. He was moving faster than I was and hit the same black ice. So I'm going down the road this way, right? Round and around, and this other guy's going around and around as he's going by me. Well, we missed each other's car by like this, man. Well, probably a little more than that, but by inches in my viewpoint anyway. And we're spinning. We come around facing each other, and both of us have one hand on the steering wheel. We're looking at the other one, mixed mastering past, and we're going, it's like, have a good day. Got out of the other end and went back on the road. But I don't drive a lot anymore. I don't have to. But 14 vehicles, I only rode off, now I'm feeling jealous there, I'm black. I actually wrote off 3. 1, I hit the Meridian. 1, I was rear-ended. Nope, 4 cars. I rode off a Dakota on the highway. Right, rode it off. The Dakota was a truck, was a pickup truck. Rode it off against the Meridian. I rear-ended somebody else when I was driving a Pinto Exploder car. The 1976 Pinto Exploder car. And of course, I had a little Audi that was crushed while I was in the restaurant. And other than that, it was the hatchback that I got rear-ended by a Caprice. Fortunately, I walked away from all of them without a hitch. Yeah, well, the neat part about it is I rear-ended them. That particular year, the 1976, was coined. my Pinto was wannabe 4x4. Saw somebody that had a Mini Minor, and their bumper sticker said, "When I grow up, I want to be a semi." But no, the 1976 Pinto was coined the exploder car, because 90% of the time, if they got rear-ended, they detonated. Well, I was lucky. I rear-ended the other guy. But in no case did I suffer any physical damage myself. Not necessarily the comical part there really is I also, when I was in grade 12, worked for a company called I worked for Stop Violence, but that was later. Oh, I worked for Counterattack when it first came across the border. Okay, Counterattack is what became Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Okay, but I tell you, the graphic videos that we used were phenomenal. They were absolutely brutal. They weren't just, oh, look, your eyesight gets a little weird. It was literally, here's the site of a fresh accident. And of course, I think part of what helped me, as far as the whole thing about being cautious, a friend of mine, when I was in grade 10, I warned her, she'd been invited to a grad party. And I warned her, I says, do not get into a car with a driver that's been drinking. She didn't listen. She got into the car with 2 people that had been drinking. They totaled the car. Both of them walked away. She ended up in a body bag. The funny thing is, Black Dragon, when we were growing up, presumably you're around about my age, considering the fact that you weren't wearing a seatbelt. When I was growing up, seatbelts were not a requirement. But my dad did have a way of making sure we paid attention. You know, if we got up and were roughhousing, he'd tap the brakes. Yes, we'd bounce our head off the back of the seat. You know, but we also learned that you sat down while you were driving. But then Dad had a real simple rule. If we're getting into the car to go for a drive, car doesn't move until everybody's feet gets off the ground and the weight's transferred into the car. If you're leaving the car can still be moving. You can come and go as you please. You know, I mean, the really comical part, we make it sound, you've got all this safety stuff in place today. I don't know, but do any of you guys that are around my age recall anybody coming along and going, "Hey, what a neat idea. Here's a pack of poison. Eat that, and I'm going to challenge you to eat that because that'd be funny." I don't recall that kind of challenge ever coming up. Certainly, we used to bumper ski, okay, which meant you're in runners, run up behind a passing car, grab the bumper on a gravel road or on a paved road that's got gravel, and go whipping down the road on the back end of it. And of course, you wanted to get off, you had to let go. I mean, these were suicidal things. I absolutely agree. The whole idea of a zip line. The zip line, you got the safety harness, you go up on the line, and down you go, and you're flying like a bat out of heck until you get to the other end. My zip line, we had a rope that was about that big around, great big knot on the end of it. Okay, and it hung off the edge of the bottom branch of a tree. Yeah, you too, eh, Mac? Welcome aboard, the Mac Geek. So we had a rope like this with a great big knot on the end, and it was hanging on the edge on the bottom branch of a tree. Okay, so you'd run at it, you'd jump up, grab the rope, and swing out over a 300-foot precipice. Now, here was the safety harness. All the way down the bank, there were trees that you hoped you hit if you fell. Because if you missed the trees, you were landing straight on jagged rocks. That was our idea of a zip line. Not necessarily brilliant. Okay, but we lived through it. Okay. The neat part about it is, today everybody's told, and they really should have been told this when I was a kid. Okay, you guys have heard of the game Frogger. Well, we used to play live action Frogger. You wanted to cross the street. You took your chances and you looked at the street and went, okay, cars are coming, okay, now go. And pray that the guy in the car didn't speed up. I don't see anything wrong with that, Black Dragon. I really don't see the problem with that at all. Yeah, see, I didn't take to the bike that well. Of course, I damaged my leg when I was a kid. But we used to, we'd be driving in the pickup, and you climb out the passenger window, okay, and then up into the back of the pickup while you're doing 40 miles an hour going down the road. This is how you change seats. It was just normal. In today's world, you get caught doing that, somebody's gonna think that you're completely suicidal, which they may not be all that wrong on. My eldest brother used to drive a motorcycle all the time. Then he went and bought an Impala and tried parking it in the exact same spot that the motorcycle used to fit in. Didn't work out quite that well. Okay, talk about going sideways. But do understand something, guys. We are talking about things we did when we were younger. I'm laying odds most of us wouldn't do that again. Okay. Most of us wouldn't do a lot of the silly things we did when we were younger. Of course, in all fairness, we didn't think they were silly. We'd jump off a 14-foot roof. Yeah, we took it to extremes. You get out of the back, crawl into the pickup, and then another truck would come up beside you and you jump into the new truck. But you always watch your footing, otherwise you're going under the wheels. But, to us, this was just plain normal. And then somebody somewhere along the line started going, oh, that's too dangerous. I get a kick out of the cartoons that come on. They took, Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner and Coyote off because they were too violent. Have you seen some of the cartoons that come out now? They take that off because it's too violent. Because everybody knows a coyote really has access to high-powered rockets. And everybody knows that a rabbit, or that a roadrunner can outrun a car. We know this. Okay, but those were too violent. And yet, when you look at the shows coming out today, I'm looking at them going, why was that violent? Why was that considered violent? Mind you, the Canadian government took a look at me and told me, no, sorry, you're epileptic. We're not going to give you a license to work with a gun. You're not going in the military. And yet this same government turned around and took an individual I know that is a clinical paranoid schizophrenic and went, hey, what the heck? Let's train him in explosives. How you doing there, Derek? Glad you could join us. Hopefully your day has been going well. Boy, today has gone by in a real hurry. But like I said, okay, going back to what I started with, as you can tell around here, here's what I'm going to talk about. That goes that way. But you get your 3 things on the list. When you get one done, check it off and add a 3rd one to the bottom. But don't forget to include things like, don't forget to include things like when you get dinner, when you get breakfast, when you get some sleep. Okay. Yeah, it was a phenomenal night last night. All in all, things are going to change. And I really hope that you guys can get your lives turned around as much, or better yet, more than mine is starting to. I got all my paperwork in. Now it's just one step at a time from there. But you keep a list of 3 running. But remember, those tasks, you keep them to 15 minutes to half an hour in duration. That way you can get them racked off and actually have them come about the right way. Oh, meant to show you something. I keep getting asked this on occasion. This guy here, he's obviously not complete. This is my most current character from my Sunday night game. Actually, Sunday daytime D&D game. But this little guy is a fighter. He's actually a pure human, but he's a fighter, bard, cleric. And this, where is it? There you go. This guy here is the character that my son is using. Now you take a look at that. Let's get that out of my way. I believe that's called, if I remember the pronunciation right, that's an Aarakocra. And a human. Okay, these are the 2 characters that we're working with. Okay, there is a 3rd one, that is a drow, and I think he's using. Let me see here. I gotta ask him because the other gamer is using this one we're using as a drow. We'll paint it accordingly. I just have to find out which one specifically he's using. Tell you, it took a while to find a character that I can actually work with. So yeah, I will be doing a little more painting on mine tonight. Yeah, Black Dragon's going, I keep my life in chaos. Oh, I up until Matt Geek, up until my stroke in 2018, I was almost always the game master in a number of different games. The big problem I ran into was when I had the stroke, I couldn't keep it organized properly. I mean, I am looking at possibly starting to run a game as well. But I ran a solo campaign, a solo D&D campaign for a chap for 8 years. And I've run games. Well, I started running games in 1980. I actually ran my first game, which was 4 years after I started playing. Primarily because, well, I moved to a new city. But I've been running. I ran them from night. I ran almost literally, almost solely. I would run one, every week from 1980 until 1982 until 2018. Where I was just about every game I ran that I played, I was running the game. Okay, and that included D&D, Aftermath. I specialized in D&D and Aftermath. Star Frontiers I played at the same time, as well as we had a much better game master for Aftermath, way more militarily inclined. Yeah, I've got all of our books are done. Like, I've got a whole array of the D&D books. Okay, the guy that's running the game master right now runs most of his stuff off of the soft copy. He's got them all on digital, but he took over because my brain wasn't, after the stroke, I couldn't keep it organized. However, the fact that I'm actually getting the writing done properly now does bode well for the idea of reorganizing it and getting set to run again. I'm thinking at this point of possibly setting up to run a game next year. That'll give me enough time to organize it. Where are we? Honestly, I don't think I ever played White Wolf. I did play the original Traveler. That was fun. Right. I played, the original Traveler, D&D, Star Wars. Oh, Champions was the other one that I played, that I game mastered. Right. But I also played a lot of the mini games. Things like Ogre, Car Wars. I actually took Car Wars and turned it into a role-playing game. Just because I figured out how I could do it and figured it was a lot more fun that way. So we did. And of course, we did play V&V, Villains and Vigilantes. Somebody else ran that game. Just trying to think what else we played. Probably a few others. We gave a shot at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but that didn't last very long. That's all. Yeah, I've got to get to work on that. But as you can tell, my throat is starting to seize. Not entirely surprising, but we're also in the 2 hour mark here. Where are we? Yeah, we got about we got about 10 minutes left, so I'm gonna fight with it until then. Just keep in mind, guys, as you take control and restart your life, this literally means take a look at where you are right this moment. Everything that led to here, okay, has already happened. You cannot alter that, but you can certainly take where you are from right now and alter it. Yeah. See, I've tried free play, but computers and I argue. So the only game I really play right now, I haven't tried D&D online, but I play Skyrim. Right, is the only, and that's not role playing. You know, I still, I still turn around and play. We still do a live game, and for the last 20 years, we've that works like an absolute dream there, Mac Geek. I usually have just a small point. When I put a list of what I've got to do, I do it in point form. Right. But I've made the mistake on occasion. I've really had to stop myself from doing this. You put the 3 lists and 3 jobs down, keep them to 15-minute to half-hour tasks where possible. When you get one done, check it off and write a third one at the bottom. If you do like I do, you can get carried away and get a whole bunch of things listed. I've had to stop myself from doing that in order to stay on track with things. See, Mac, I don't actually procrastinate doing things anymore. I just don't bother. I used to put it off. Now I just don't do it because it's easier that way. See, like when I started looking at these old game systems, originally there was a game out called Diplomacy. Okay, the original was Diplomacy. You wrote out your moves, and then they upgraded it or downgraded it, in my opinion. They built Risk, where everybody takes a turn. But with Diplomacy, you wrote out all of your moves when everybody had made their list. Everything took place, and you moved in wherever you were going. That could leave a lot of changes. Because maybe you're planning on attacking the one country right next to you, and somebody three countries over makes a massive swing to take out everybody. And I mean, it made for a much more exciting game. I personally didn't bother with the whole idea. I didn't bother. I never did take the Monopoly. Monopoly for me became more an issue of let's see how much I can screw somebody else up because I'm not winning. In this life, though, and what I'm doing now is laying out the groundwork. I've already laid out the groundwork for when Voice Enterprises becomes a global concern, becomes a massive, big enough to be a corporation. The way the laws are right now, I'm certainly not going to incorporate because I'm not putting a board of directors in place that has the option of kicking me out. Not going to happen. Board of advisors, that's another issue altogether. Mind you, the funny thing there, I talk about things I'm planning on doing, and you guys end up giving me ideas anyway, which is, if you think about it, kind of akin to a board of advisors. Okay, obviously I've got to make up my own mind, but you guys have brought up some phenomenal ideas on ways that things can work. I gotta check something here before I run out. I just hit refresh to see what it's looking at. But now I'm still gotta do this idea of, well, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's Sunday, so that'll be an open topic anyway. And one of the things about the open topic is I will be bringing some of the figures I'm working with to paint. One of the big things I'm looking at there, and I'm just making note of that. Where for Tilda? I just put my pen. There it is. Whoop. Is I'm going to bring some of the figures I'm going to bring tomorrow, well, to work on while I'm on the air, is I'm going to bring some of the figures I've got that are actual races from races of the world, that are beautiful representations of races of the world, or figures that have been pinned down as characters for the Yldrbacian Chronicles. Okay, that way I can start getting things again organized and streamlined in a much more static fashion. Now, where are we here? So I'm still looking at a whole pile of options. I've still got things I'm working on. And what I would like to see happen with you guys, okay, I would love to hear some of the projects you guys have on the go that you're aiming at completing in your world. Because if there's one thing that I find enjoyable, it's finding out that you guys have actually succeeded in completing a task that you were aiming for. Okay, to me, this is one of the ways, call it living vicariously through other people, if you will. But I do it that way. That way I can see what is happening. I can watch the world actually shift gears in a positive fashion. Now, we are hitting the 2-hour mark, and as you can tell, the throat is giving in. Okay, so I'm going to say thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. I really have enjoyed it. Glad you all dropped by. And I will be back again. Well, I may be on, depending on Nathan. I'll be available tonight, but it depends on Nathan himself. Okay. I may be on his show tonight. Other than that, I will be back on tomorrow with an open topic. So do bring your questions. Today's been absolutely fantastic. So until we meet again, do take care of yourselves. Try and get that all organized. Do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.